I'm Patrick King, and you are watching Synthwave Ultra. Seamlessly blending emotive songwriting and pop rock polish with neon lights and cyberpunk dystopias, this week's guests are easily one of the top names in the vocal side of synthwave. Whether it's a moonlit Miami night or the gritty underworld of the sprawl, they create unique atmospheres and capture a variety of styles like none other. My guests this week are Von Kaiser. Hello, thank you very much for joining me. I've got Von Kaiser here. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself for the audience.
Hey, yeah, I'm David from Von Kaiser.
I'm Kaylin from Von Kaiser.
And we're Von Kaiser.
We're Von Kaiser.
We're one member short tonight. It's got some family stuff going on, so it's just the two of us, unfortunately. Okay. Or fortunately.
Oh. So, yes, so welcome. Thank you for joining me. So, how did you all get started in the whole like synthwave retrowave thing?
Well, he's always been in bands. Like he's always had bands since many years. So he has a background in rock and like metal and everything else too. But
music.
Used to rock, playing in rock bands. And what made you want to do the synthwave thing? You just started them.
I used to love, like the classic hair metal, like Def Leppard and all that. Mm-hmm. But I also love the 80s synth pop music, from that time. And then when I think I heard, honestly, I think it was a Midnight song that I heard first, which was a pretty good introduction to synthwave, or at least vocal synthwave, as it was. And it was something off Days of Thunder, and I was just like, I think this was like 2016 maybe, and I was just like, whatever this music is, it sounds like my childhood, and I want to play music like that, like whatever that is. And like I was in the middle of a rock band, and I was just like, guys, I'm going a different direction. If you guys want to come with me, great. If not, there's the door. And half of them went, okay, bye. But the other half stayed, and then Kaylin came along kind of shortly after that. But yeah, I mean, now all of us really have always been into 80s like culture and vintage stuff, and the scene sort of just to have a music that encompasses that, that kind of feel of those movies and video games and TV shows of that time is just great. So yeah. And then I joined shortly after that, like he said. They had other members. And it was half a rock band.
Yeah, they wanted some female vocals on their first track that they first track that they recorded, Dead by Dawn. So I don't know if you know that one, but we did a video for it. We'll probably be posting the video throughout October because it's Halloween. So we'll be like, ooh, spooky. But yeah, so I did the vocals on that, and we made a video, and then they asked me if I wanted to join, and I said no, but yes. So here I am.
Right. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, because I mean, like, it's interesting too. Like a lot of the folks I've talked to, like they do have that background in like, I don't know, like hard rock and metal. Like I mean, I've talked to some folks who even have like, have been in like death metal bands, and now like they do just like the whole synthwave retrowave thing. So it's really interesting that there's that overlap there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is cool because you have stuff that's like light, like your dance or heavy, like Dance with the Dead, and then more light like the Midnight or FM84, but they're all sort of in the same genre still, which is just crazy because like if you took those acts and took out the synth stuff and just put like their vocals and their instrumentation in any other genre, they'd be totally separate apart. You know what I mean? But you could see those artists on the same bill. That's the other cool thing about this genre. It's like a little tiny thing, like one of the stars behind you in the universe of music. It's a tiny little thing, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's unfettered. It's new, even though it's old and retro at the same time.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes it so special. Kind of like what you're saying, how like it sounds like a memory. Like it sounds like even if it's obviously like distant from the last few years, it reminds you of like of a specific time, which I think like that's one of the things that makes synthwave like so cool and interesting. And yeah, too, like you said, like it's so all encompassing. I mean, like I have my big Synthwave Ultra playlist, and it's just anything and everything. I've got you guys, I've got like stuff like the Midnight FM84. Then I also have like darker stuff, like Gregorio Franco and Dance of the Dead and that sort of thing. But like it still all falls under this like synthwave umbrella, which I think that like it's because that distinct like retro synth core is there.
Right. Yeah, that's super cool. So that's one thing we love. I mean, the people in this genre, the fans in this genre are like unlike any other music I've ever played. You know, it's just everybody is like just loves the fact that whenever they can see live synthwave, like people freak out because I think it's rare. Unfortunately, you know, it's sometimes harder to take this music like on the road than I think maybe some other genres are. So
yeah, that's for sure. Because I mean, like I know, like I feel like there have been some instances where it just when like a synth artist plays live, it's basically just somebody going up and like, you know, pressing play. But like you guys, like you guys specifically, you've got like some live instrumentations and you've got like, you know, live guitars and keys and that kind of thing. So like I know I've seen some of your live clips and like you've done some of the like the live streaming stuff. And yeah, like it is a full show. Like it is really cool to see like to see synthwave artists embrace that.
Right.
Yeah, we have a rule that we won't play with anyone who plays on a white card table. So, you know, we require them to bring black card tables. No, I'm just kidding.
They're not card tables, they're craft tables.
Yeah, craft tables.
We were just noticing this like thing, like we'd see synthwave shows, like DJ synth shows, and they all like would share the same white craft table.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like the bigger guys that do it, like Time Cop, he's got his own sort of stage setup.
Like
you know, he brings a you know, a lectern almost, a DJ lectern. Yeah. But some of the guys just share white tables. We always make a joke like, we're gonna bring a black table and just set it in front of us. I don't know why. That was a weird segue.
Sorry.
I know. Sets you guys apart, even if it's just the color of the table that your synths are on.
Yeah, exactly. We don't use stands now. We just use craft tables.
Yeah.
But only black ones.
Only black.
Aesthetic,
yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's, I mean, like kind of going off of that, like I've seen I've seen some of the live online shows that you guys have done. I mean, obviously like the last, you know, year and a half plus, that's been kind of the thing people have been doing just because live music is kind of, you know, in stasis right now. So how have you all gone about that? Because like I see you have the light setup back there. Like is that like the studio space that you like practice and perform in, or like, you know, like, yeah, so tell me about that.
So yeah, I mean, we built the studio really is kind of a place that's a haven for creativity. We have like a public area, which is a little bar in it, which is where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
With a little living room off to the side. Then also off camera, what you cannot see are like all of our live cases. This room is basically just stuffed to the gills with all flight casing, but the lights and everything, you know, we developed a lot of that over quarantine just out of like boredom. We didn't have anything to do. Our next record was mostly complete. So we went on to try to like make our show just a little bit more vibrant. And since we were doing so many live streams, you know, we'd watched a lot of people doing live streams, and, you know, most guys are just kind of doing it in a room, you know, with a couple lights on, and you can tell it's like in a home. And there's nothing wrong with that. For us having this space, you know, we do have a lot of open warehouse space that's in this building that we're in. And so we were able to take all of our stuff. Our rehearsal room's a decent size, but where we do most of our live streaming is actually out in the hallway out here. After hours, we'll pull all the gear out and do a film, and then we'll haul it all back in. You know, it's basically like playing a show. It takes us about an hour to do it round trip each time, just the setup of it, but it's totally worth it, of course. But yeah, we just wanted to do something different. I mean, we wanted to do something more, and being a vocal band that didn't have a drummer, and we weren't using a live drummer, which I think performance wise, when you have somebody playing drums, always brings an energy to a live performance, especially when most of your band is singing or playing a synthesizer in a stationary position most of the time. So that's a couple changes we made. Is like I went off playing keyboard, and I'm mostly on a microphone most of the time, besides when I'm playing guitar. And we intensified the light show, and then Kaylin switched over to some more intense key parts and background vocals, and to sort of pick up the slack of me disappearing off keys. And I think that's helped the energy.
Yeah, and I was playing more of a stationary like keyboard, and now I'm pretty much always on keytar, so I can move around and throw glow sticks at people.
Which we do every show.
Yeah.
So if you come to a Von Kaiser show, be prepared for glowing dollar store plastic to come whizzing at your head.
Yes.
No, that's really interesting too, because I mean, if anything, the rise of the synthwave scene has led to a resurgence in keytars. Like it is like, because like you said, like, I mean, obviously you can stand at your your craft table and play your setup, but like having a keytar like that really helps bring like that motion and like dynamic element to it. So yeah, that's right. Really cool that you've like adapted to that.
Yeah, it's super cool. The keytar is making a resurgence, with Roland making one and Lisa's making one, and I think Yamaha just made a Sonogenic, which is another one. I don't know if that's a serious one or not, but we should just get that one just to see if it's junk or not. We've had all the other ones, so. But yeah, keytar is super cool. It's part of the aesthetic, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. So kind of coming off of that, so tell me about some of your influences, because I know like you mentioned like some 80s hair metal and stuff like that, but like who are some of the specific artists who kind of like influence you and inspire you?
Now, I've been heavily into Droid Bishop. I'm gonna give him a bone here. I mean, the music record is just when it came out, I grabbed a hold of the first two songs, and I was just like, this is sweet. And so, without trying to say, well, the next Von Kaiser record is going to sound like that, we are definitely like exploring some different ground, I think. My listening, I've been into Eagle Eye Tiger a lot and Home. I actually have been listening to Nina recently, randomly. Mm-hmm. She just come up, and so I've been listening to that, and I've been doing, whenever I'm writing or working on songs, like we're in a writing stage right now for the next record. And so I'm thinking of songs that might work for Kaylin, like range and ideas. So I'm listening to Nina and Jessie Fry right now for that, because I think those are two pretty strong ladies in the genre right now, as far as vocal performance. So yeah, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
I have been listening a lot. Well, I have been listening to all of those artists too. I have a vocal synthwave playlist that I kind of put up in the synthwave groups, and every once in a while I'll go through and kind of get rid of the things from a year ago and try and update it with everything new.
That's called curating.
It's called curating, and it takes a long time. So I only do it twice a year.
To be fair, it's curating.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Nina, obviously, The Midnight, obviously. Mm-hmm. I always tend to go back to FM 84 and Ollie Ride. But also I've been listening to a lot of Kygo remixes, which is not synthwave, but he's been doing this cool thing that's very Droid Bishop-ish as well, like taking late 70s and early 80s songs and kind of just putting a modern spin on them. Just they stay very true to the original song, but just the beats hit harder, and they just really the tunes slap. So it's more EDM, but I have been listening to that, and Neil Rottmeyer
and Banda.
And well, I always gotta listen to my Banda music.
She's heavily influenced by lots of like Spanish and Mexican music, and I'm not kidding. Like she listens
I do enjoy a good, a good corrido, or like a
delicious.
Yeah. No, that's really cool, because I mean obviously like as we're talking like with synthwave, like it's so very like there's so many influences you can pull from that, but it's also great too when you can pull stuff from like outside the genre and like mix that into synthwave, because I mean that's like I know like that comes up quite a bit, and like I know I've talked with other people about that, how like some folks do start to sound kind of, a lot of stuff does kind of start to sound the same.
Yeah.
When you bring in outside influences like that, and like other styles, like that's like it helps to diversify and like grows a genre. I mean like take the Midnight, for example. I mean, listening to like Days of Thunder compared to like Horror Show. I mean, just it's cool seeing how their styles evolved.
Right.
And I like too what you're saying with Droid Bishop. I mean, like I was actually listening to Droid Bishop earlier. I love Droid Bishop.
Yeah.
But yeah. What I really like about his style, like you're saying, that kind of like late 70s, early 80s, like a lot of his instrumentation reminds me of the Bee Gees with those like just like those gorgeous string sections. Like I love that so much about Droid Bishop.
Well, he's conquered that Brian May Queen guitar tone perfectly as well. For those who are into gear, I mean that sound is not easy to attain, and he's got it down pretty good. So it's making everyone kind of rethink their guitar tones. Just because, I mean, almost every synthwave record, including ours, I mean, it's always been that wow, super like 80s rock tone, and he went a different direction again. I mean, it's very cool. So, yeah,
and I do like that about your stuff, though. How like you do have a very distinctive just guitar tone. I mean, like I always go back to like I listen to Landline Alive, and so like that opening drum fill and riff on Armitage. Like I just like I've like that's such like a cool like dynamic intro, and like it just those like pinch harmonics that just like this is very much fun. But that's like the Von Kaiser sound.
So that's something we're definitely going back to on this record. I will say is we're kind of trying to take and mix all of the records together into like one super record now. As it were.
Yeah, and that's another thing about you guys too, is that you do have like a lot of your albums do have very, very varied sounds. I mean, you did Landline, which has like this kind of like brighter kind of poppy sound, but then you did Ghost of Miami, and that was like it wasn't like dark. It wasn't like dark synth per se, but it was like a much more like darker nighttime kind of.
It was our nocturnal. If you have a comparison to make, that's what people have said in the past.
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison. Like exactly. Like it's your sound is just a little darker, a little more atmospheric. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why that's like on the next one we tried to make it a little more. Like not maybe as dark on Animals to the last release. So we tried to pep it up a little bit from that. That's just kind of leading us into where we are now, which is again different.
Different again, yeah.
Excellent. I mean, different is always good. Just evolving and trying out new things. So one of the things that I have noticed that's I think it's more common in your earlier stuff is like you'll make references to stuff like specifically William Gibson, Neuromancer, like Shadowrun. Like I thought that was really cool. I mean Armitage, like that's a character from Neuromancer. I forget if that's like if the song itself is a reference to it, but like I know like you've definitely made some references to Gibson and Shadowrun. Right. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the Neuromancer series, well, that whole section of books that Gibson wrote, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of just like future virtual reality, the whole like Ready Player One style jacked into. I mean, I love the idea of surreal worlds and stacking, new technology on top of old things. Like the idea that there's a world on top of the old world, and this post-apocalyptic, turbo future that he paints this picture of. I mean, it's 100% the old Shadowrun game from Sega, like all of that mixed together into this sort of cyberpunk, that he created the cyberpunk genre as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I mean, it deserves mentioning. I don't think it gets enough credit. Sometimes his books can be, I think, tough for people to get through just because they were written. It's very detailed, at times.
Yeah.
But in songs, it's something that we go back and forth on, whether or not people gravitate to stuff like that, to more like nerdier references to things, because I can go all day, One thing that some people notice, but not a lot of people notice, is I also make a lot of magic card references.
Really?
Yeah, there's a song that she sings on the last record, Animals, called Future Sight, and it's a block. That's a block of cards for magic. Like I just took the name and I was like, this is gonna
that's awesome.
There's tons of references to it, like The Forest, you know, things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
The Forest is actually a take on Gibson's too. That's like based sort of loosely on The Matrix and Neuromancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I had no idea about the Magic the Gathering reference. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like it is like, yeah, because it is really cool. Like when artists will make like explicit references or take inspiration like that. And I mean, like there is like, and I feel like you guys do it in a way that's like, you know, it's not just like, hey, look at this thing, you know, like it's like, yeah, it's a little more nuanced and, you know, kind of done it in a creative way.
Well, it's subtle enough, hopefully, that if you don't know what it is, it doesn't disturb you.
Yeah.
And if you do know what it is, you're in. You get it. You know, which clearly you did in this instance, right?
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it worked.
That's the way to do it for sure.
Because if it's too much, like there's a lot of that stuff that Kaylin isn't aware about. So she'll go, well, what's this about? You know, like why are we saying this? What does that mean? And then we explain it, and then she'll go, oh, that, okay. Well, that maybe we want to steer away from that. That might be a little too much down the rabbit hole, you know, lyrically, for instance. So we have her there to make sure we don't go full nerd.
Yeah, Kaylin, they're like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, do we want people that are also not nerds, so everyone else to like our music? Maybe we should tone it down just a little.
I had a whole Mega Man tribute like album written, and that got shelved. It was a little egregious, but
I don't think it was me though.
No, it yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Kaylin. There's sometimes you just have to realize that a thing just shouldn't exist for its own sake, I guess. So.
That's great. Well, so one of the things that I've seen about you guys too. I mean, this is one of the things I really like about the synthwave scene, like it is very community oriented. People, like, you know, people, it's a very tight knit community, and I feel like you guys have done a really great job of like engaging with people. You know, like making yourself like a really like solid positive presence in the scene. I mean, I was gonna say, Kaylin, I know one of the things that I see come up pretty regularly is Kaylin and pizza.
Oh yeah.
I do love pizza.
The pizza's out of
control. So I think it started with a Christmas card that I made 2 years ago. And it was just me and you know, loving on a pizza. And
like she's posing with it like it was a boyfriend, like a lover.
Yeah, like you know,
her tongue is out.
Like engagement pictures or whatever. And then like I'm holding up like a little photo of an ultrasound, and it just has a pizza, and I'm holding that over my belly. You know, like an announcement.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
You're pregnant with pizza.
I'm pregnant with pizza. And I sent that to like my family and my friends and some people. I had some extras, so I put out there, you know, if you want a card, you can. So a couple synthwave people in the synthwave community, you know, they were like, oh, I'll take a card. And I was like, cool. So I sent this out not knowing the majesty that would occur like after this.
I don't know if it was majestic.
Well, I don't know. Marilyn Gold picked it up.
Yeah.
And
Marilyn Gold has put us into deep dish pizzas.
Deep dish pizzas. We had it as our banner.
Now we're involved, even though pizza's her thing. I mean, I like pizza. Don't get me wrong.
We all like pizza.
Right.
Who doesn't like pizza?
Exactly.
You know, so there's been artwork created because of my love for pizza, and that's just, you know, the fandom is nice.
I think people can feel in your voice how much you
love pizza so much.
Oh wow. But about what you're talking about though, we're trying to just enjoy the scene. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to make like our funny videos or whatever, or our reels, like We're just trying to just like, there's a lot of fighting that goes on. Like, you know, I like vocal synthwave. I like non-vocal synthwave. I like dark wave. I like regular synthwave, you know, and it's almost kind of getting into this like, blah, 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 and everybody's competing for that tiny little piece of fan base that exists in the genre. And that's what everybody wants. And it's hard, you know, it's hard to come into this genre. People think, I think because it's small and you can get a laptop and you can make a dun, 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 that's it. People are going to buy your music. And we learned real quick that it wasn't going to be that way. And I think other people are starting to catch on to the fact that it's like any other thing. You have to be good. You know, you have to put in the work to it in order to make it good. But with that said, for us, like, we're trying not to be too serious. We try not to take ourselves too seriously. You know, we're not sitting here going, when I wrote this masterpiece, you know, whatever song, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever the most ridiculous song would be, like, of ours. Like,
Pink Leotard.
Yeah, right. Like when we wrote Pink Leotard, the clouds parted and God sent a ray down and we wrote this fantastic workout. I mean, we just don't think that way. It's fun music.
It's really
we
a
have fun
political
making
commentary. Pink Leotard, you know, the workout song.
Right, exactly.
And like, we're not gonna.
So it's just meant to have fun, and we want to be positive. We want to just appear, you know, like we are. You know, we want to appear approachable, and when we play shows, we 100% want to talk to everyone and that we can, you know, without catching anything, and you know, above that, so.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to go about it. Because like, I mean, I feel like that's one of those things is that. So I mean, I'm obviously very active on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and you know, like I see lots of folks just like just being cool, and, like having a good time. But then like I'll hear about these like Synthwave Facebook groups, and like you said, just lots of like infighting and bickering. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like people get mad when other people get successful. You know, it's like the bigger the band or the group or the artist gets, the more people have something not nice to say. And
luckily for us, we're not there yet. So
we're not there. Nobody says anything mean yet. So that's how you know you haven't made
small
it
enough
yet.
that no one cares.
I care.
I mean, about trash talking now.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
We don't have any haters / trolls.
Well, yet. I'm sure we do.
Not actively voiced ones.
Right.
Oh man. No, that's great though, because then like kind of what you're saying too, like your reels and like TikToks and stuff. Like I love that first one you did. Really, hey kid, want to try some Von Kaiser?
Yeah, right.
So it's cool. Yeah, just like fun, you know, fun
actually,
stuff like that.
That idea came from one of those old commercials. I just like somebody posted in, I think it was the Retro Recall FM page. There was this like a meme of this old commercial for a bowling alley, and I don't know, it's a skating rink, and the guy's like, I keep your kids off the streets, but it's like an old man, and he's like, hey little girl, want to try drugs? And she's like, no way, I skate. It's a skating rink, like, you know. And I was like, we're doing that, but we're gonna make it about something else, you know. Just trying to come up with ideas just to keep it fun. But
I mean that's great though, because that just like, you know, projects positivity and just adds it projects positivity and it just adds some fun to this thing. Because like, I mean, Synthwave is fun. Like there's like because that's the thing too. Like I know other people have said this. Like it's one of those things where it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like the people, like obviously there are going to be people who like you said are just going like, ew, you know, super pretentious about it. And just like, it's goofy 80s sounding music. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But along with that though, it's evolved. I mean, it's evolved into songs that you don't feel like, oh, I just listened to the cheesiest thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's some Synthwave songs that I hear and I'm just like, whoa, like this should be on the regular radio sometimes, you know? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's at the same time, you don't want to take it too serious because then it loses its fun. Yeah.
I guess that the probably wasn't the best wording for that. It's like a goofy genre, because like there is a sense of fun to it, but yeah, not like.
But fans should absolutely take it serious, because like it's a genre that's worth taking serious.
It is, yeah. I mean,
I don't think it's worth fighting about, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because like I mean, it's obvious like a very, it is still kind of a niche genre and scene, but yeah, like there's a lot of like creativity and artistry involved. I mean, case in point. So
right. Yeah. And I think that's the change, you know. I think like I've been thinking more and more about that Iron Skull article where he said Synthwave was dead, that everybody was in an uproar about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the more and more I think about it, maybe that's the wrong wording for it. The wording that is correct is that Synthwave is evolving. It has to evolve. And I think the reason it has to evolve is what you were saying before, is that there's a lot of it that is the same, but not everybody can just do, you can't have 1,500 records of that. I mean, you have 1,500 records of that.
You have more than 1,500.
But you can't listen to that like, and go, well, that's different from record to record. So what ends up happening is there is, you know, like the Macho Man says the cream rises to the top. That's a bad Macho Man, but you get the point, brother.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, because
that one was left field, and I take full responsibility.
No, that is definitely for sure, because I mean, Synthwave is Dead is one of those things that, like, I know Julian Green says, like I think he mentioned something how like you can basically set your watch to when that's going to come up. But I remember that I do remember that Iron Skull article, and yeah, people flipped out about it, and like if you actually read the article, it's like, yeah, it is kind of inflammatory, because I mean, in fairness, like that is kind of his style. Like he's kind of like, I remember that he's kind of like the pitchfork of synthwave, in that like he's very, you know, like particular and very like, you know, not necessarily stern, but like he does have high standards because he wants to be good. But like with that article, it was kind of a clickbaity title, but he did have a good point that it is evolving, and yeah, that's the thing, is like it does need to continue to evolve, because otherwise Synthwave is dead, which it obviously isn't. But yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, like for us, we take it to heart, because every record for us, we're trying to be better. We're trying to get better. We're trying to evolve what it is that we are. What is it that makes Von Kaiser? And that evolution is I think, it goes hand in hand with what he was trying to say. Maybe not as I don't know.
I mean, you need a clickbait title.
I get it. It was a jackhammer of a title, and it got reads. I mean, it was sensational. So, you know, digress on that one, but
yeah, and I remember, like, I guess more recently that there was that perturbator article where like on the magazine said, like in big red letters, Synthwave is dead. But then I remember he even came afterwards. He was like, yeah, I didn't say that. That was the magazine.
Yeah, the
like,
magazine, I think, took that headline from the Skullet article.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think they were referring to the dark side of it, like as in Black Death, like, you know, Synthwave is good. You know? I was taking it that way. But I mean, I don't know. It's cool that they put him on a metal magazine, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what better? I thought it was great for the genre. Can't hurt. Plus, Perturbators, a band we played with, so like it's cool to see them getting.
Yeah, that's right. You guys opened for him.
We did.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That was a cool show.
Great. That was a really.
That
cool
was the show that set us down the path of all that lighting, because his light show was pretty
and
BA.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and Ghost was another one that was on that show.
Yeah.
Also, there's just us and Ghost and Perturbator. Think about it. What a weird show that is. Yeah.
Well,
but, I mean, it was full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just
Good night.
Again, that just shows how like all-encompassing synthwave is. Because I mean, yeah, there's you guys who have, you know, like more of like the kind of pop rock sound, and then Perturbator who's just like dark industrial, and Ghost who's just like black metal, but also synth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I would rather do that show now. I think we're better equipped to probably do that one now. Like looking back on, you just look back on your or our early stage setups, and it's just like, I wish we had what we have now, you know. But that's we get to enjoy it now. You know, I think we had to take those steps to get to this point. So.
Yeah. And I mean, if your if your live streams are any indication, I mean, you guys have a great setup already, so you're always moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's the show we're taking on the road. So 100%. If you saw that live stream, that's what'll be in clubs.
Awesome.
All across the U.S., especially next year when we tour. So
yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, yeah, we'll coming off of that. So what's next for Von Kaiser?
Well, we're working on a record. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of incorporating all these like new ideas and trying to come up with that. Not really trying to come up with that new sound, just allowing that new sound to come through. We've already got a bunch of ideas.
Yeah, we're like way
put in, and like, yeah, it's
normally we start at this time, but because like shows and live performance, we've only had a few shows this year. We haven't really had any distractions as far as like not being in the studio. So like early in, I think August, we were just like, let's go in and start. And normally we don't start the record process until either October or November. And then we usually write those few months, and then we spend January up till March, mixing and producing out the songs a little cleaner. But now I think we're almost close to maybe even being done, with ideas as far as song ideas. And there's a lot of songs. We have historically released a lot of material, and then we only did 10 on the last record. And a couple of people are like, "Oh, I'm surprised you guys did such a short record." And it's we don't release records with a lot of songs on it because we necessarily have a rule to do that. It's just like if we don't cut it, it goes on, But it's been prohibitive in a lot of ways doing records that long because a lot of people have asked for these to be on vinyl, and it's super tough. Like Landline would need to be a two vinyl batch just to put Landline on with 14 songs.
Oh, wow.
And same for Ghosts of Miami. I mean, they would have to both be double records in order to be on vinyl, and
it just makes it prohibitively expensive for people to buy, and it's like we can't charge people.
Yeah, we're not going to charge you $100 for a vinyl. We're just not doing it. People do it, but we're not doing it. No. We try to keep all of our merch pretty affordable, pretty cheap, so people can get it and have it. Animals is coming out on vinyl though. That is actually coming out with a super cool pink splatter. Yeah. We're announcing it here first because we haven't told anyone about this yet, really. And in fact, our test press is supposed to be here soon. So
nice.
We'll be posting about that when it shows up. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah. Sorry, I totally blank. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's it. Interesting what you're saying, how like your process, because I feel like you guys are pretty prolific, because like there was just like Landline, Ghost of Miami, and then you did like the Echoes EP, and then Animals. Right. So it's like and
Glossy. Glossy was in between Landline and Ghost
and
too.
A couple random singles.
Yeah, there's that Glossy EP. So we were trying to do an album and an EP every year. So we would call it the summer EP. So Glossy was the first EP. Then Ghosts came out, then Echoes was the second EP, but we kind of nixed the summer EP, I think, this time around. Just felt like
we just didn't feel like we were giving enough attention to the records.
I think we felt like maybe we were releasing too much material. Yeah. And we wanted to take a step back and maybe have a little more attention to detail this time around. And I think everybody's going to notice, because I think this one's going to be a good one. So
yeah,
that's great. I'm looking forward to that, because I enjoy all of your stuff. I'm like, it's always really cool to see a new Von Kaiser release. So yeah,
definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for
looking
sure.
forward to hearing that. Cool. Well, was there anything else that you guys wanted to add or promote or anything?
May the 4th be with you. Von Kaiser will release the next record, and as usual, we will be touring May to June. Hopefully, that was our plan. So we'll be doing a possible month run in there.
Nice.
So
yeah, very cool. Hopefully you guys can get up to upstate New York, and I can see you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's our plan, to be everywhere if we can.
Excellent. Well, cool. Well, thank you all very much for joining me this evening. I really appreciate it. And yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you having us on. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. That was my conversation with David and Kaylin of Von Kaiser. Be sure to check them out on Bandcamp, Spotify, and more, and follow them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @PatrickKingArt. Be sure to check out the Synthwave Ultra playlist for loads of synthwave of all sorts. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to this channel for more great synthwave conversations. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Synthwave Ultra.